Hi, Pocket. In this video, I talk about why I play alone. Before getting into that, it's weekly bounty time. This week, it's 3 in the plains, 3 Ray Dao, and 3 Tempereds. Easy peasy, because Ray Dao is the apex of the plains. After a simple rest at the plains, making sure to select inclemency, I found myself an 8-star Tempered Ray Dao. It's just that easy. No. It's just that... Wait a second. Okay, after getting blown up twice, I realized that I didn't have any armor on. Hee hee, who tied my shoelaces together? So silly. Now it's time to get hunting. Okay, oh well. I still have the 3 investigations, so that's enough tempered Raymonds as long as I don't lose again. Apparently, I didn't have enough dying to 8-star tempereds with Jin recently. I had to up the ante to get farmed by Ray too. Thankfully, I was playing alone, and there was no one here to judge me for that, right? Right? But that's not really why I tend to play games alone. No, not out of skill-less shame. After all, I think I play at least somewhat well most of the time, even with weapons I'm not so good at, like bow. I have some amount of confidence in my general gaming abilities. Rather, the reason is predominantly a philosophical difference. In my experience, the way that I play and think about games tends to be grating to the majority of people who play and perceive games differently from myself. I found myself in situations where my perspective seems to suck the fun out of games for others, as the presence of others can do the same for me. And it has caused me a great deal of wonder, whether I am an antibody in this waging, or the disease itself. The hours I've spent pondering whether these symptoms spawn from the friction of 2 sound but incongruent ideals, or from either individual source. Sad to say, I don't have a solid answer, only a few hypotheses. But what I can do is try to explain my perspective. Here, I'll give an example, a tenet of my philosophy that has landed me in conflict. I do what I want. When I stop wanting things, I stop doing them. This idea stems from my old therapist, who was very clever. We'll call him Mr. Timber. When I was in a session, I told him once, "I don't want to take this class, I hate it." So he told me, "Then quit." I groaned. "I can't quit. It's already paid for. If I quit now, it'll be a waste of money." He smiled. "Then you want to take the class?" I argued for a while, but eventually I saw what he meant. Mr. Timber explained. There are multiple things that you want. You want to make the money worth it. You want to make your parents proud. You also want to play video games instead of being bored in class every week. Your want for those first 2 outweighs your want for the third one, so overall, you do want to go to class. You might not enjoy it, but you want to go. If you didn't want to go, you wouldn't go. In life, I had always been a fast talker, especially in arguments or tusslings of ideas. With this, I could outpace people, dribbling past them in a flash. I turned conversations into quick 1v1 matches with feints and red herrings, dodges, and guard cancels. I found it much more fun that way, and it always surprised me the way Mr. Timber kept up. For an older man, he was sharp, and without response, he had stumped me. I guess I do want to go, but you're right, I don't like it. I bring that same philosophy into gaming. When I stop enjoying a game, I start to weigh my wants. Sometimes, my desire to assist others can outweigh my overall enjoyment of the game. Final Fantasy XIV is a good example of this, where, despite not enjoying the game at all, I still got on to raid with some friends for a few weeks. I had no interest in genuinely playing the game, but I could offer my fist to their cause, and I wanted to see them win. That want outweighed the other, the want to do anything else. But I often hear, amongst other gamers, that I hate this game, I don't want to play anymore, before immediately hitting the play button again. A harsh complaint, and contradictory to their actions. Thankfully, I learned quickly that trying to explain Mr. Timber's lesson to me on the spot was rarely a good idea, especially with an already agitated gamer, but it would nag at me, especially amongst the more negative folks who say that kind of thing very, very frequently. Over time, it will wear me down, and I'll bring it up as gently as I can. It's not a criticism, just a pet peeve. Hey, when you say this, it doesn't make sense to me. Here's how I think about things. I'll tell them the story of Mr. Timber and how he taught me to gauge my wants. Sometimes, once, this went over well. Every other time it went pretty poorly, and the relationship was either severely damaged or the pressure was immediately lethal. Each loss has built up my resistance to this, but even to this day, it will eventually pinch me too sharply. Recently, I overheard some players playing Marvel Rivals. This game sucks, it's so stupid. Ultron flying is so cringe, every character can fly, this game isn't balanced, I don't want to play anymore. I hear. I softly jab into the mix. You know, the uninstall button has always been an option. I know last patch ruined everything for you, but they didn't remove the log off button. That's still there if you're not having fun. People laugh. They think I'm joking, and I said it with enough joy that it was plausible, so somewhat. That comment of theirs leads a bit well into my second tenet. Before I can say, I must know. Before I can know, I must learn. I love learning. When I pick up a new game, it's like walking into a mansion. So many doors, and I don't know which ones lead where. There's this great reinvigoration of exploration. This connects to that, a shortcut here, a trick technique to make this easier, so fun. Over time, of course, the thrill of discovery is replaced with powerful familiarity and mastery of certain things, which can still be fantastically fun. No game is perfect, however, and in this mansion comparison, some doors lead to rooms that aren't so deep. A foyer can be full of secret passages, but some passages may lead to an entire hidden basement, and others may simply have a brick wall behind them, a red herring. Not every aspect of a game is always refined, and not every strategy is viable, but I still find great joy in trying the handle, discovering, at least once, for myself, whether or not there's something on the other side. I'm not sure if other players don't enjoy that, but many seem intent on skipping that phase of discovery as quickly as possible. People look up guides for everything, tips, tricks, secrets, the best build for that, the most OP weapon. And I'm not the biggest fan. Optimization and innovation is so cool, and it happens naturally, so over time, someday, I'd like to use those resources, but while I'm learning, I'd hate to spoil the discovery. A few months ago, I played a round of Gunfire Reborn with some people. 2 of them were new. I myself have a little over 100 hours in the game, and the 4th player had probably about 3 times my hours. What the heck is this? One of the new players picked up a weapon and showed it to us. They were laughing so much their microphone could barely pick it up. A newer player was holding a simple brick, in a game full of guns and magic. A brick. It's a heavy weapon and it's pretty hard to use. It rewards you for hitting headshots multiple times in a row and picking the brick back up where it lands. A somewhat difficult weapon to use, but certainly fun and funny. I laughed with them, and so did the other veteran player, who then gave advice. Yeah, it kinda sucks though. Especially with your character, it's not worth it. You're better off with the gun you already had. Oh, so I shouldn't use it? They asked. You could try it out, I chimed. No, it's bad, the veteran answered. I watched the newer player switch back to their old gun and ready up for the next chamber. It made me sad, but I didn't say anything that time. To accommodate for the lower skill level of the newer players, I had suggested we play on a lower difficulty, so we were. On a lower difficulty, almost all strategies become viable, and you don't need to be using the strongest build on the strongest character, or even really a good one to succeed. That's one of the reasons I enjoy Monster Hunter. You don't need to be the best or use the best stuff to even have a chance. You can make it work with what you like. It might just take a little while longer or a few more tries, but in the end it's marginal, far from impossible. That wiggle area leaves room for viability and creativity. When I play new games with people, even if I know what they're doing is suboptimal, I don't always correct them. This is something my sensei taught me in karate. He pulled me aside and whispered to me one day, "Look at Ben. Tell me what's wrong with his kata." I watched Ben for a few seconds. "His feet aren't pointed, sensei. His shoulders are raised a little and his elbow comes out when he punches." Sensei hummed. "That's it?" I watched for another few seconds and listed a few more things. "Good," Sensei said. "Now, if you went over there and told Ben to fix all of those things, do you know what would happen?" "Nothing, Sensei?" I guessed correct. "That's right. There's 100 things wrong with Ben's kata right now, but Ben doesn't know his asshole from his elbow. Tell him to get into a lower stance and point his feet, and I'll come in tomorrow to see him walking across the dojo like a duck. And worse, he'll be teaching everyone else to do it too. We'll have Mother Goose Ben. For now, you pick one thing, and try to pick the easiest one. Once he learns that, call it out. Tell him when he's doing it right. A few days later, teach him the next thing. Repeat. Sometimes, he'll forget the first thing, and you just teach him that one again." "Hi, Sensei." "So, what's the easiest thing to fix about his kata right now?" Sensei asked. "Not raising his elbow when he punches, Sensei." I knew the answer because it was one of the first things I was taught to correct by Sensei himself, and I remembered. "Good. Now go." He patted me on the shoulders and I returned to class. That's part of the reason I don't feel too comfortable giving people advice about Monster Hunter weapons, or really proficient enough to make a guide on any of them yet. Before I can confidently say, "This is why the bow is strong," I want to make sure I've played every weapon to have a basis to compare it to. I want my fundamentals, before anything else, to be strong. That way I can have confidence in any attempted teachings. But finding that fundamental basis might take me a long time. Now, if you were to ask me how to use tonfa or sai in real life, I could give some decent beginner tips. I love those weapons with my whole heart. Real quick, after finishing my Reidaos, I went to do the event quest for a tempered kutku right now. All we need is 2 more quests, so this is a convenient one. Similarly, this aspect of my philosophy inclines me not to complain so much about games until I truly know a puzzle is unsolvable. And maybe that's intentional. Many players, when they feel cheated by an unfair mechanic, will immediately complain. This isn't fair, or when they do really well, this is OP, without having a basis to compare it to. No control group for their experiment, simply, last time I did well, this time I didn't, something must be wrong, or vice versa, without accounting for human inconsistency or the potential for unknown issues or solutions. I had an issue when I was hunting Jin Dahad. I'm dodging through the blasts, but I'm still dying. Originally, for a moment, this frustrated me, but I had to ask why. I tested it on my next dodges and I found out why. Discovery, excitement, and perhaps I could have rejected all of that learning if I decided to blame the game or get upset. Sometimes, a door in a game feels locked. A door we need to get through. And that doesn't feel fair. But I urge you, try not to get mad at the game, at least until you check your pockets for a while, okay? Sometimes they like to hide keys in there for you. I wanted to go through a few more tenets, but I think I've been talking a bit too long. I don't want to drone on too much. This is already rather ranty. I hope it's alright. These tenets of my philosophy have landed me in conflict, not just with fellow gamers, but fellow collaborators in life. Throughout my schooling, I'd find myself isolated in group projects, without any source of clear or kind communication. My solution was often to simply complete the entirety of the project myself. I am no longer part of the group, I'd tell my teacher in the next class or by email. Here is the completed project. When working jobs, I had gotten much better at regulating myself and quickly silencing that little part of me that raises its hand when someone starts squawking about things they haven't cared to try and learn about. I think some people just like complaining, but I don't think that's very cute. But because of this, over time, my well of friends and gamers has run dry. Without much will to seek out new ones, the finite pool has evaporated, swallowed up into the clouds, and without enough rain to fill it again, it is a crater, but a crater I sit in rather comfortably. I don't mind playing these games alone, especially knowing that my presence, my input, can really hamper the fun for others. I have come to accept this aspect of myself, even if it leads to a somewhat isolated existence in this digital plane that I now reside. I believe it is probably for the best for the fun of most people that a hunter like me hunts alone. And that's what palicos are for, you know. After finishing my last kutku, I headed back to the bounty cat to turn in for my bounty rewards. Goodies, wahoo! Thank you for watching, fellow hunters. My unorganized thoughts have leaked into the microphone, so I ought to go get a towel. Until next time, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, good luck, and goodbye.